Rating the List, where we review, discuss, and reimagine popular movie lists objectively. We're your hosts. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Brad. And on this episode, we're going to be exploring number 84 from AFI's 100 Years, 100 Passions, the top 100 love stories of all time.
Number 84, Double Indemnity, starring Barbara Stanwyck, Fred MacMurray, directed by Billy Wilder, and released in 1944.
So, the synopsis for this film noir is as follows. Insurance salesman Walter Neff, played by Fred MacMurray, arrives at his downtown LA office with a gunshot wound. He begins recording a confession to his friend and colleague, Barton Keyes, played by Edward G. Robinson. The story is then told in flashback with narration. He meets Phyllis Diedrichson, played by Barbara Stanwyck, during a house call to remind her husband to renew his auto insurance. They flirt and she inquires about buying an accident policy for her husband without his knowledge. Neff susses out that she is contemplating murder and wants nothing to do with it. She eventually seduces him, and he tricks her husband into signing a double indemnity policy, which he thinks is an auto renewal policy. Phyllis drives her husband to the train station for his college reunion. Neff is in the back seat. He kills her husband and boards the train posing as Mr. Diedrichson. He jumps off the train and meets Phyllis at a prearranged meeting spot. They drag Mr. Diedrichson's body to the tracks. The insurance company president believes the death was suicide, but Keyes, the adjuster, dismisses the theory and has doubts about the legitimacy of the claim, which he voices to his friend, Neff. Phyllis's stepdaughter, Lola, believes Phyllis is behind the death. Her mother died under suspicious circumstances when Phyllis was her nurse. Neff dates Lola to keep her from going to the police. He maneuvers other evidence, including a potential witness, and tries to convince Phyllis to lie low. He learns she is seeing Lola's boyfriend, Nino. He confronts her about it. He guesses she plans to kill him and Lola, but says he intends to kill her and frame Nino. She shoots him, but can't finish the job, claiming to care about someone for the first time. He doesn't believe her and kills her. He stays and convinces Nino not to enter and to call Lola. Keyes overhears the whole dictation. Neff says he is fleeing to Mexico, but he collapses on his way to the elevator.
Wow, this is a lot, this movie.
It was good.
It was really good. Not a love story.
Yeah, I mean, they try to sneak it in as a love story in the very last scene where she claims to, she can't finish him off because she's fallen in love with them. It's like, come on.
First of all, they fall in love with each other in minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I believe the flirtation and all that stuff.
Of course.
She's not into her husband at all. Mm-hmm. It's obviously a marriage of convenience, and when you find out later, she killed his first wife to get with him, for the money.
Yeah.
And she's obviously going to off him again for the money. So, beautiful woman is flirting with him. He's an insurance salesman. It probably happens to him all the time, and he's just kind of playing the game, and then he sees it's probably going to go a little further and kind of gets into it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you believe all that stuff, but, this is a love story list, not a lust story list.
Right.
Which I think has been the failure of some of the movies we've seen so far, is love is different than, attraction and passion and
for
all
sure.
that stuff.
Yeah.
So, for those that don't know what a double indemnity policy is, it's a real thing. Basically, my first job out of college was selling insurance, and I actually sold a couple of these. A double indemnity policy is an insurance policy that pays double the face value of the insurance policy if the person that's covered dies in an accident. So say you have a $200,000 insurance policy with a double indemnity clause. If that person dies in an accident, the payout's actually $400,000. So it's not super common. A lot of the people that would want that kind of policy generally don't get covered because they have a higher likelihood of dying in an accident. So someone who works an underwater welder or something like that, or someone who works in on a crab boat, someone who does things that are very, very dangerous generally will not be able to get this kind of clause put into their insurance. I had one that it was kind of going along, and it ended up getting rejected because the the guy was a skydiving enthusiast, and it didn't come out until like, you know, they really started investigating, like the actuaries and all that stuff really started to look into the stuff. This is stuff he didn't divulge to me.
Oh, so interesting.
And they really got on me about him. Like, I asked the questions and he didn't tell me that. So what do you want me to do? I'm not, you want me to hire a PI and follow this guy around? That's not what we're supposed to do.
Well, evidently, like during this time period when people were insurance people, like business was booming, and it was a very sexy profession.
Well, it was also like, you know, he was doing house calls. That was very common back then.
Yeah, it was very like, you know, like really gripping and exciting stuff, the world of insurance.
Yeah, Edward G. Robinson's character really makes the whole like thing seem way more dramatic than it is. Trust me, I worked in that industry for a while, and not really gripping or dramatic at all. It's actually pretty damn dull. There's a whole
they did
a lot of paperwork,
a lot of movie magic, and made it seem very exciting.
Yeah, and I guarantee you that I did not get in any spots where, you know, I got shot at, or
you didn't like fall for a woman and be seduced by her.
No,
and
that never happened.
Killed a man for her. No. Somehow seemed like it happened every day back then.
Yeah, just like, you know, when we were growing up as kids, it seemed like quicksand was going to be a much bigger problem than it turned out to be.
It really did. And like stop, drop, and roll was really going to like help you through shit. Like catch on fire, stop, drop, and roll.
And ducking under your desk was going to help you in the event of an earthquake or nuclear bomb.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I like this movie. I think it was a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it before. It's been a while since I've seen it. It's always interesting to see Fred McMurray and stuff. He's best known for being the television dad on My Three Sons. That's kind of like the thing that he's really remembered for. So seeing him in a completely different kind of role is kind of cool.
Yeah, and I really feel like watching this movie, like he had like psychopath tendencies, because it seemed like he was just like murdering people like nothing.
Well,
you know,
he got seduced by this woman,
and he's like, "Sure, I'll kill your husband, no problem."
It took a little bit of twisting his arm, but eventually he got there.
A day? Yeah. It took a day.
But you know, it's always nice to see Edward G. Robinson in a movie. He's such an acting powerhouse, man. He's good.
Yeah.
He just the problem with having Edward G. Robinson in the kind of role that he's in this movie is he overshadows everyone else in the movie. He's just such a presence. So even like Fred McMurray's a good actor, and in those scenes Edward G. Robinson's just acting circles around him and really commanding the screen. And he's not your main character. He's kind of, in a lot of ways, he's almost a plot device. But he's just got so much screen presence that he really like takes away from. Yeah, you know, Fred. He's usually in a scene with Fred McMurray, and then Barbara Stanwyck's great.
I love the shot of like, he's at her home. Fred McMurray's at her home, and he's like talking to her about insurance. And she comes down the stairs, and the camera focuses on her ankle bracelet. Like, it's so seductive, the ankle bracelet, right? And so he's, like, watching her with her ankle bracelet. Like, ooh, she's easy because she has an ankle bracelet.
That's the Haze Code for you.
Yeah.
So the Haze Code was put in, I think, 1931. It was a industry, like... policy, so they like self-police themselves about like morality and violence and those kinds of things, and it lasted for a very long time. Like I think it lasted till like 68 or 69.
Wow.
And even to this day still impacts the way movies are made and marketed. I think it very much had a lot to do with how the rating system came about and how it's still kind of displayed. Just kind of a stupid thing. I mean, it was put together by like a Catholic priest, and it's just like, come on, man.
Well, it's interesting because we just watched a movie that was done before.
We'll be discussing it.
Which we'll be discussing soon, and it's like, it kind of shocks you a little bit because you're like, whoa!
Yeah.
Like, I didn't expect that at all because you're so used to watching these old movies that don't show anything like that.
Yeah, it was really prevalent in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and it really started kind of losing its grip in the 60s. And then you got the avant-garde, all the American, independent directors, the youthful guys, Coppola, Scorsese, Lucas. All of these guys started making movies in the 70s, Spielberg, and the studios were in such bad shape that they kind of had to do whatever these guys wanted to do. And that's really when the Haze Code just kind of really fell away. And,
well, it really felt like the 70s and movies were like a lawless land.
well, I mean, movies started to get a little sexier, right? And you carry that through into the 80s and 90s, and then we just kind of became like a Puritan country again. Like it's like gone now. It's just weird. There's like no sex in movies. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, it is kind of bizarre. Now that I think about it, there really isn't.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. But yeah, really enjoyed this movie. Do not see it as a love story, but it was a good watch.
Yep. So I gave it a 55. Jerry gave it a 54. The list, therefore, is 54 and a half. So that is our rating for Double Indemnity. Like we said, this is another one, really good movie, just not right for this list in our opinion. But,
for sure.
Definitely check it out. It's good.
If you like film noir, it's a really good one.
Yeah, it is. All right, so please like and subscribe as we continue to go through this list. We're almost 20% of the way through now. So
I thought we were 20% last time. Or did you say we're almost at 20%?
We're almost at 20%.
Oh.
We're going to be almost at 20% for the next couple episodes.
Okay.
So we reached number 80, which is exactly 20%.
Okay, got it.
That's how that works.
Okay.
So, we're pumping along. We're getting through the list. We're starting to get into a really interesting part of the list for me, where it's like these movies are, you're like, they're saying this movie's better than 20 movies that are on the list, but I'm not really...
Yeah.
Sure. Should it be on the list? Should it not be on the list? There's been some borderline candidates recently that I think it's going to be interesting once we make our own list.
Yes, for sure.
How many of these actually from this part of the list actually make it?
Yep.
Anyway, until next time, I am Brad.
And I'm Jerry.
And we're rating the list.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Bye.